Hey everybody, we're here at Red Rocks Race and Sportsbook. Jason, Chucky for the Sports Betting Podcast. Bookends powered by STN Sports. And we're going to dive right into college football. And is this the game, maybe the biggest game ever for UNLV football? Friday night, Boise, UNLV. UNLV is a home dog. They're 10-2 against the number. Their last 12 games when getting points. They lose 44-20 in December in the MAC championship game last year. And now one of these two teams might have a path to be one of those five that gets into the college football playoffs. This is going to be a phenomenal game Friday night.
Well, and I think UNLV getting a lot of respect here. A field goal underdog, 3.5-point underdog against this Boise State club that has arguably the Heisman Trophy favorite in Genty at the running back position. UNLV is going to have to really stand up on defense here, something that they haven't been able to do, in particular against this Boise team in the past, and we haven't seen a lot of teams throughout the college football country be able to do against this Boise State team this year. Boise State 5-1 in overs. Obviously, they're playing fantastic football with only one loss, and that one loss was a 34-37 loss at Oregon, the number one team in the country as we sit here.
Right.
So, I mean, Boise State has really played well. They're familiar with coming to Allegiant. Obviously, they've played games here before. So, as you said, this is UNLV's big chance to make a splash on the national stage. The big win last week at Oregon State, able to do it again with the turnovers. UNLV consistently turning teams over in key situations. If they're going to stay in this game, if they're going to beat Boise State, they're going to have to do it on the turnover side of the football. They're going to have to do it on defense, stop Genty, and get some turnovers.
Well, I think, we talk about it. The winner controls their own destiny the rest of the way. I mean, both teams have a really favorable schedule. The winner's clearly in the discussion for a playoff bid. And as Jay mentioned, the over might be the play here. You look at Boise, 8 of their last 9 games have gone over, and UNLV, 7 of their last 10 games have gone over. You look at UNLV's schedule the rest of the way. If they get a win here, at Hawaii, at home to San Diego State, at San Jose State, and then at home to Nevada. All really winnable games. I think you look at the win probability, it's over 85% for UNLV in all 4 of those games. So clearly a path to be in the playoff discussion with a win here. A couple of betting trends. Boise, 5-0 straight up in their last 5 games when playing Vegas. Total's gone over, as I mentioned, in 8 of Boise's last 9 games. Vegas 5-1 straight up in their last 6 games. But more importantly for UNLV 14-6 against the number in their last 20 games. So you guys have got paid with UNLV. They're getting points here again. 8-2, getting points in their last 10 games as a dog, and it should be a lot of red and silver in the crowd. I would think. Friday night.
So much excitement around this UNLV program. I mean, to be where the program had been for so many years, and then kind of really flip the script and be a winning program. Just the coaching staff, offense.
Well, the
defense,
situation with Sluka.
What they've been able to recover from him walking away. There's been really no drop off at the quarterback position since he's been gone. It's really a great thing that we're seeing, that this coaching staff and what this program has begun, and excited to see where they go in the future. But you said it. This is a monumental game in the schedule here for the Rebels.
If anything, maybe Sluka leaving was a motivational factor for this team, because it gives you kind of a rallying cry that, hey, our quarterback walked away. We had to make a change at quarterback. And they were so close to beating Syracuse that game. It's a dropped interception and then that penalty late. If not for that penalty, they probably win that game, and they're undefeated right now, and they're really in the discussion. So big game on Friday night. It should be a lot of fun. You guys go out and support the Rebels. Right now they're getting points. I'm not sure who we'll need in this one yet. I'm thinking we'll need Boise from the business side of it, but not sure yet.
I don't know. I think that we're going to see the Rebel faithful come with the money, and we'll probably be, from the book standpoint, be cheering for a Boise, which is always hard to do.
Another really interesting college matchup. We're jumping to Saturday now. Notre Dame at Navy. Irish are 6-1. Navy is 6-0. Navy's been the betting darlings as far as the point spread goes. I think the last 3 weeks, over 85% of our tickets have been on Navy. I think 2 of those weeks, over 90%. They've been like the number 1 team as far as you guys backing, and they've just walked through teams so far. Army and Navy seem to be on this collision course right now, and they're both just walking through teams.
Yeah, and we saw this number as high as 13.5, came down to 10.5, 11, and then has leaked itself back up to 11.5 or 12. So obviously you talked about Navy and the way they've been playing, 6-0 straight up, 5-1 against the spread. Combine that with the other Service Academy and Army, everybody's been cashing their tickets. But slowly Notre Dame's finding themselves back in this thing. 6-1 after the loss to Northern Illinois, 5-2 against the spread. But again, with all the SEC teams taking losses and everybody taking losses, Notre Dame can find their way back to the playoff by simply just winning games. And you didn't think about this one being a one that would leapfrog Notre Dame, but a win here for Notre Dame over the Service Academy, again, is another good thing on their resume.
Notre Dame is 5-0 straight up in their last 5 games against Navy. They're double-digit favorites here. You look at Notre Dame, 5-0 straight up in their last 5 games. Navy 5-0 against the number and straight up in their last 5 games as well. So really interesting matchup. Another one, Missouri at Bama. Bama double digits here. Total 56. Missouri comes in 6-1. Bama 5-2. This is the first time the Crimson Tide have had multiple losses before November 1st since Nick Saban's initial year at Alabama when he had 2 losses early. So that was 2007. So the Crimson Tide faithful aren't used to Bama having 2 losses this early in the season.
Well, we talked about this, months before the season started, that we didn't expect this Alabama team to be able to repeat what they had done all those years under Saban, and then
but they had a bad loss.
We got shocked when they knocked off Georgia, and we said, "Holy cow! Can this, DeBoer and this team really be the real deal?" And then kind of we've seen over the last several weeks, Jalen Milroe, who looked absolutely unstoppable those kind of first 3 to 4 weeks of the season, has kind of come back to life. They struggled in the red zone. They've had some turnovers, and obviously the monster loss at Tennessee. To now have to rebound again after these losses, and when you start to doubt yourself as a program and wonder, Alabama's used to playing for national championships, and now with 2 losses trying to find their way and fight their way back into a playoff. So tough thing. On the flip side, this Missouri team still has those lives and the dreams to get in the playoff. Brady Cook, obviously a great player and an ability to lead an offense. Missouri's going to have to stand up on defense in this game. We talk about UNLV standing up. They're going to have to come and really play, again, a frustrated Alabama team that we know is going to put forth that effort to not get the 3rd loss.
There really is a lot of pressure in Alabama, though, because you can't afford what happened against Vanderbilt. You can't stub your toe at all, because the 3rd loss, I think, gives them no chance to be in the playoff at all. A couple of interesting betting trends here, guys. Missouri 10-1 straight up in their last 11 games. They're catching double digits here. They're 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 games on the road. So a couple of interesting trends there for Missouri. Another game we're going to look at now is Illinois playing at Oregon, the number 1 team in the country. The Ducks are a huge favorite here of 22 points. Illini come in at 6-1. Oregon 7-0. But this Oregon team just seems to be rolling now. I mean, they looked so good last week. They had the big win against Ohio State a couple of weeks ago at home. Dylan Gabriel's playing well. There's a lot of quack going on in Oregon right now because they're excited about how well they're playing. Yeah,
you talked about Dylan Gabriel. He's worked his way back into that Heisman Trophy conversation as well. For me, this is a spot where I loved what Illinois did last week. If you didn't get a chance to see the game, to see the uniforms, to see the helmets that Illinois put on in their matchup against Michigan, a monster win for them against Michigan, something that Brett Bielema, I think, had been geared to, trying to beat Michigan. They finally go to secure that win as an underdog against Michigan. And now this, I think, for me, looking at this and handicapping this game, this is a terrible spot to have to go travel to Oregon after the big win over Michigan. And Oregon sitting there, number 1 in the country, knowing what's ahead of them to continue winning these games. The one thing that I look up in this matchup is that both of these teams just recently played Purdue. Oregon went into Purdue and knocked them off 35-0. Purdue was absolutely suffocated, couldn't do anything the entire game, and I think Oregon was somewhat nice in only beating them 35-0 and not running up the score. And we saw Illinois beat Purdue the week before the Michigan game 50-49. Again, Illinois was up big in that game. We saw Purdue have a big comeback to get to that 50-49 score. But when a team beats a team 50-49 and then another team beats them 35-0, and Illinois is coming off the big emotional win and has to travel to Oregon, I just don't think this is a great spot for the Illini. Not that I would lay 22 points. The Illini defense, we saw them have a stand up. Now, again, playing against this Oregon offense is a whole different story than what they just saw in Michigan. But again, I just think this is a terrible spot for the Illini to have to travel West Coast after the big Michigan win.
I think one thing that maybe helps Illinois a little bit is that they get to kind of get up that morning and play football. The game's at 12:30. It's not they're waiting all day for a 7 o'clock start in Eugene where everybody's, kind of tailgating and the crowd's into it. Not the crowd won't be into it, but I think a night game there would be so much more difficult than having to, you get there, the next morning you get up, you're ready to play football, and I think that helps them a little bit that it's an early start time, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think when you look through a college football schedule, you ask yourself, when is a team have an emotional outpouring to win a football game? And I talked about it last week when we talked about the Texas-Oklahoma game, that Texas has an emotional outpouring to go win the Red River rivalry. They beat Oklahoma, they destroy Oklahoma, and now can they get back up and match the energy of a Georgia team coming in? To me, it's the same situation for Illinois. Big emotional win against Michigan, and now you have to get back up to go face Oregon. Don't feel like that's 2 weeks in a row of maximum energy is going to be there for Illinois.
There's another really good game on the slate as well. It's been fun the last couple of weeks. We've been able to talk about all these big key college football matchups. I know early in the season we had so many mismatches and small schools traveling to play big schools, but there is like 4 or 5 really marquee games this week, starting on Friday, as we mentioned, with UNLV. But Texas A&M and LSU. LSU comes in 6-1, A&M 6-1. A&M has been as high as 3.5. The numbers come down to 2.5 total, 54.5. Some really interesting betting trends there, but I'll let you comment a little bit on this game as well.
One of the more interesting games of the week for me, for Texas A&M to obviously be sitting only a 2.5-point favorite at home against LSU, means that LSU is the better football team on the field.
And they've played really well of late.
And A&M is getting that slight home field advantage with the 12th man being there. Texas A&M clearly going to be kind of the bigger defensive club when you look at a defensive line front and a standpoint of more physical team. But Texas A&M, I don't know if Wiegman in that offense has the ability to go match what LSU can match from an offensive standpoint up and down the field. To me, this game will be determined in the trenches. Can LSU match and be able to stop that running game for Texas A&M? And obviously, going to have to be able to put up points. And Nussmeier's been really, really good.
Really good.
They do have the weapons that were there. LSU, good program. They've been able to kind of be very, very well and get them back in the talks after the bad loss to USC, the opening game of the season. But a big SEC matchup here. And again, you're seeing that line be so very, very close because realistically, LSU is the better football team overall, but traveling to A&M makes it very, very difficult.
I think this number will continue to drop a little bit, and I think Nussmeier's really put himself into discussion now to potentially be the first quarterback taken in the draft as well. So that's something to look at.
Well, I think Shedeur Sanders and
there's a lot of football
what
left.
What he's doing there, and this tool set that the young man has, I think that when I look at what's going on in the draft, I won't be surprised if Sanders is the first guy out.
A couple of interesting betting trends here. LSU 5-0 straight up in their last 5 games. They're 12-1 against a number in their last 13 games when playing A&M. A&M is 5-0 straight up in their last 5 games, and they're 7-1 straight up in their last 8 games at home. So a couple of interesting betting trends to look at. And one more thing with college football, last man standing. Again, we continue to see dramatic drops every week. There's 42 contestants left in college football last man standing. So congratulations, guys, who's ever left. You're doing phenomenal because this has been a really difficult year. I don't think we've ever been this low in kind of mid to late October with only 42 guests left.
Yeah, no, strangely enough, there's 42 guests left in the pro last man standing. So we're sitting with 42 in both contests here in week 8. I think we normally see the contests get stretched out a little bit further. But again, all those upsets that we saw, in the first 4 or 5 weeks of the NFL, and then obviously this college football season's been crazy. And every week it seems like we talked about kind of a matchup of the year, and we've gotten kind of upsets in all these games. We saw obviously Georgia knock off Texas. We saw Alabama knock off Georgia. We saw Oregon knock off Ohio State. So in the college side of the season, it's been kind of the underdogs in these big games have been winning these big national marquee games. It's been the underdog coming out on the winning side.
So again, it's going to be a fun college week. It really kicks off Friday night with that UNLV Boise game. A lot of cool stuff.
Maybe it's another underdog on the winning side there.
Maybe it is. So, but anyway, we're going to jump right back and we'll go into some pro football on the next segment of Bookends.
Grandma, who you like today? I'm just walking into Durango. State, Grandma, I'm not betting them. No way they win. No, you don't know ball. Grandma, State's getting blown out. No, I will not live bet them. Grandma, there's no way they come back.
It's a big six. State pulls off a miracle comeback to win.
Grandma, you were right. I know. I should have bet them on STN Sports. Okay, I'll admit you know ball. I love you too, Grandma. Bye.
Download the STN Sports app now.